Reddit, what is the worst thing you have done for money? So when I was a sophomore in high school, I went through a slutty phase. I actually wanted to do porn, but obviously I was too young. Anyway, this didn't stop me from taking pictures and giving them out, and I enjoyed all the attention I got as a result. I didn't really get bullied about it. I didn't actually want to have sex with them because boys are gross, but I would make out with guys occasionally at parties. A lot of the girls in the grades above me hated me though, but that's just because they were jealous that their boys liked me. Winky face. As you can imagine, I didn't even think of charging money for sexual favors until one day at a house party, one particularly drunk senior boy came up to me and he really wanted me. I figured I'd extort him for as much as I could, so I tried to be as sexy as possible. I bit my lip and pushed him up against the wall and whispered sexily in his ear, "I need about tree fitty." That goddamn Loch Ness monster had tricked him again. I swam away, sexily of course. Was given $10 to steal a classmate's holographic Charizard. It still haunts me. I remember when my holographic Charizard got stolen. This kid in my daycare awkwardly asked me if he could see my deck, so I let him. Then I kept talking to people around me. Later that night I noticed, no charizard, betrayal. I should have implemented some system like sending my best cards. If a card goes missing, let me smell YO deck. I'm in a yard outside school. The glaring sun is making it hard to see the ball sailing in a high arch towards me, but I managed to catch it in my baseball glove. I can see a man approaching, hands in his pockets. I'm known to locate certain things from time to time. I throw the ball back across the yard. There's this kid in our class, Sean. He has a first edition holographic Charizard. I want it. The excitement in his voice is palpable. That's dark work, my friend. Word gets out. Nobody will want to play with you anymore. I've been told you can be very discreet. So they say, barely hearing a word the teacher is saying. Small, small. The seconds tick away slowly until finally, I hear it. The fire alarm screeches and everyone panics. People scream and run around, jump on their desks, and the teacher is screaming loudest of all, trying to catch her students' attention. Calm down and follow me. We need to go outside now. Leave everything and just go. I drop behind as people start to stream out of the classroom in a tumultuous, mutated imitation of a cue. I have my eyes on Sean's Pikachu hat bobbing through the back of the crowd, slowly making their way outside. Rigged when we pass through the door, I stride past him with determined steps, bumping into his side as I went. A stack of cards is sent flying through the air, scattering like snowflakes across the ground. Of course, he wouldn't leave them for the fire, not his precious cards. I'm sorry, that was my bad. I apologize, dropping to my knees along with a few of the closest students and picking up the cards. Hurry up back there, the teacher shouts from the front of the pack. Thanks. Granted, I think we were both in 2nd or 3rd grade, but I felt like such a badass for duping her. Flashed a boy my tits in 7th grade for $3 at a pool, underwater. Sigh, he got quite the deal. 15. Similarly, I flashed my wong to a gay guy over Xbox Live for Armored Core 4 back in the day. Worth it. Still friends too. 14 years old. Smashed a dude car windows because his GF said he cheated on her. Random stranger. Got $50. I was hurting for money, so took a job at what I first thought was a regular spa, and then turned out to be much more. I was just hired for a receptionist job. It took a week before my boss approached me and pretty much just straight up asked how I'd feel about giving handjobs and blowjobs to men. I politely declined. I didn't quit straight away. It took a few weeks and several hundred disgusting phone calls, uncomfortable propositions, and downright scary encounters with the most horny men. It got to the point that most of the time the clients would request me, as I was the youngest there by a mile, and with an ever-pushy boss, I finally took my leave and never went back. Every day sucked. It was the most soul-destroying thing. Ever edit, grammar edit? Oh. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. Every day sucked. Why the fuck would you put a comma there? It undermines your story and your morals. I suck at grammar clearly. I, too, applied for a receptionist job at a spa. I was just 18 and thinking of taking a course on becoming an RMT, so I thought it would be fitting and a good foot in the door. I got home later that day and told my parents where I had applied and what for. My dad gave me a mildly horrified look and hesitantly said, Trill, you do know what that place is, right? Are you sure you want to work there? Of course, Dad, it's a massage parlor. What do you mean, are you sure? I thought about it for a moment. Oh, well, that's embarrassing. They call me back. I declined. My parents still laugh about it. Vector marketing, otherwise known as selling Cutco knives for a summer. For those that don't know, vector marketing is the sales branch of Cutco knives, a very high brand of cutlery. Their employees are usually around the age of high school to college graduate, the kind who are desperate for a decent job with decent income that's not retail/fast food. Your first few sales are by contacting people you know, friends and family, and sitting them down for a 30 to 60 minute presentation of how the knife brand is superior to whatever is in your client's drawer. Keep in mind, the knife sets are, at their cheapest, $300 to $400. The standard set is about $1,000, and yes, you are expected to sell down. It's like being a used car salesman, only you come to the customer rather than the other way around. Not to mention, as a sales associate, you are required to ask your client whether you sold anything or not for numbers of their friends and family, so you can try to sell knives to them as well. By the end of the summer, I had made some decent money, but I felt like a sleaze bag. My friend once went to one of these training sessions. He said that the instructor took 2 knives and clapped the blades together, saying, "You hear that sound? You know what note that is? It's A B sharp, because these knives are always going to be sharp." My sister did this for a while. I sell knives myself and laughed at her when she told me that in the teaching preparation, they were told that Cutco knives are made from a superior blend of steel, as is generally only used in Surgica. Equipment and will never dull. When I asked her what blend they use, she called and asked. It was 440 steel, otherwise known as common stainless steel. The most commonly used blend in the world due to it being cheap to produce, and as it is stainless, it requires less maintenance than non-stainless blends. I'm going to start introducing myself this way. I sold Kirby vacuums as well for a short time right out of high school. I sold $1,600 vacuum cleaners to people who I knew were not going to be able to keep up with the payments and ruin whatever little credit they had. Felt despicable about it. Karma got me back, thou. Spinal fluid looked all brown and murky. Spent 7 days in ICU on antibiotics and fluids. Had the hottest nurse that had to monitor my urine output hourly. TL. This was in the age where the TI-83 reigned supreme and the internet was still catching on. I discovered a program online that would let me download programs from my computer into the calculator to make programming faster. But I realized that you could just put in text files. I started out just downloading notes, formulae, etc. into my calculator and using them as a crib sheet, but then I got even more clever. I could sell these digital crib sheets to everyone for $5 per test and make a fortune. We had weekly quizzes and monthly tests. Quizzes were $2 per crib and tests were $5, and it got to the point where I was selling upwards of 300 cribs per week. Then I realized something. The file for answers to a multiple choice test would just be a 10 or 15-digit hex key or a really big-ass number. By this time, I had friends working distribution for me, so we realized that all you would have to do would convert the hex to a base 10, and then it would just look like a ridiculously long nonsense number. I had 2 buddies in first period maths, so we would compare our keys after the test, go with our best, and then start distributing in the halls and sell the shit out of those. We sold to the good students, we sold to the slackers, and we could even sell to kids who didn't have calculators. Having a random number scrawled on your arm became standard, and I don't know what the teachers ever thought about the consistency in test taking. Sold test answers on an epic scale and began my career as a software developer. You were young enough that this would probably fall under misguided. Also, this is goddamn genius. Though what I'm pretty sure was a homeless guy suck on my toes and lick my armpits. I'm out. You win. Homeless guy paid you? How does that work? I have no idea, but I know better than to ask questions. Gave up on my dreams to pursue a career that I don't enjoy but pays well. This is one of the most depressing stories in here, and probably one of the most common. Was a telemarketer for about a day. That shit sucks, and I don't care if you are just doing your job. You're an evil fuck if you call people up, disturb them at home, and try to sell them crap. It's rude as hell. I'd rather wash dishes in a shitty Mexican restaurant, which I have done, and is a job that almost anyone can get at any time. Upvoted for common decency. I did a short stint telemarketing. One day the boss or manager told everybody about a young girl who burned in a house fire, and we were encouraged to use that story to get people to buy the product we were trying to sell. I quit soon after. This would be mine as well. I made it 2 weeks. These people were ruthless. One time, they got a run of telephone numbers that belonged to a retirement home. The first week I stuck to the script, but let people off the phone easily. The second week, I didn't even bother pitching them anything. Just called up to chat. How are you doing? Got fired. To make promises on prices, etc. that were not real. I hated working there and hated myself for lasting 5 months. She promised that if I got tickets, she would give me a hand job in the bathroom while they played Love Bug, so I was willing to do whatever it took. I ended up smuggling some pot from Canada into the States, and then the bitch told me she was re-pledging her purity to God and ditched me as soon as the show started. Damn, got played. She didn't even retract her offer until after you guys got there. That's cold as fuck. Hand job or not, she didn't have to ditch you either, could have at least stuck around. Evil. Sold drugs. My best friend was murdered over $40 American, so I guess those cons take the cake. Had sex with an older guy while one of my friends watched. Edit. Goddamn people, the response is... Okay, just to clarify, I got $40 for it, split between me and a friend. Yes, I know it's a ripoff now, but at the time, I didn't care. He was between 35 and 40. Stop offering me money to sleep with you. It's not gonna happen. How much did you make? $40. It was going to be more, but the guy gave more to my friend for whatever reason. Sorry to tell you. And posted on Craigslist, trying to sell it to email marketers. I made about $200. The torrent with the emails was 3 years old. The person who bought it said it had under 5% success rate, and his ISP apparently blacklisted him from ever using an email service again due to mass spam. 5%. That's a really high success rate for spam mail, even if it was a batch of fresh emails. Yes, but you also have to consider how many of those emails are even actively used anymore. If they're posted on a public torrent site for years, it's probably much lower than 5%. And his ISP apparently blacklisted him from ever using an email service again due to mass spam. You aren't yourself when you're hungry. Created PowerPoint presentations for high school acquaintances projects for like $20 each. Yeah, in high school I would write papers for people for like $10 a page. This one girl paid me with 1 pot brownie per page. Good shit. Taught a class at a for-profit college. Edit. I was asked to elaborate. I was unemployed for a month or so and was offered an adjunct position with the college. I was teaching entry-level students study and computer skills. There is no admissions vetting process. Students who were not ready to learn were in the class. I don't mean to sound snobbish, but they were flat-out disruptive. It was so bad that I started charging for swear words. There were bomb threats on test days even. These schools prey on kids. An associate's degree from a non-accredited college costing $40,000? You can get a bachelor's at a reputable state school for that cost and come out of it with a real skill. Accounting, chemistry, teaching, etc. You can do it for much less by supplementing community college classes. In fact, my MBA from a well-known university was cheaper. I feel terrible for anyone who was well-intentioned but is saddled with this type of debt. I sold out for a few bucks and gained no experience in the process. At some camp I went to, this guy was there and he had his own little YouTube gig going on, and he's handing out 20s like no big deal as long as they do something he asks. He picks 2 random people, aka me and some tall dude, and he says we have to play bird. It's a game where person A sits down and tilts their head back, mouth open, and person B has to spit water down while standing way above them. And if person A catches it, they both win. Nos jump. In a model United Nations club, a kid representing some Middle Eastern country wanted to pass a resolution. Nobody liked him or signed it. He offered me $1 to sign it, even though it was declare war on everyone. Signed it. Still didn't get my dollar. TLDR. Sold my morals to the Middle East. I've been a stripper and a drug dealer, but the worst thing I've ever done for money is ask a friend. Never ask friends for money. It just isn't right and can end up really badly. Worked retail. Worked for months with my 2 days off split, odd schedules, all for $9 an hour. That really makes working 35 hours a week seem like it consumes your whole life. It did not help that every customer was stupid and most employees lazy. I would do 2x the work of those people. In a store where they cut hours like crazy, I would ask if I could be brought down to around 20 for a while. I was one of the employees they would not cut because I got stuff done and sold well. The 1 week they granted the request, I did get cut to 22, but they split them up over 6 fucking days of 3 and 4 hour shifts. And guess who was expected to stay if one of the lazy people called out? Fuck, I've left since then. It's not worth it when I have the means to go back and get my BS. I was 15, and my mom's friend needed help having her house cleaned and fixed up, and I was a nice kid with nothing better to do, and she offered to pay. Involved painting and stuff as well, which I enjoyed. Her daughter was a huge cunt. We went to high school together. And part of the fixing that needed to be done were holes in the wall she punched and threw things at out of rage, and she had gone to live with her father as a result of her behavior. She had all these expensive clothes and jewelry, and being that she was a bitch and I really needed money since I was saving up for college and a car, I'd occasionally steal the stuff and put in a backpack full of my school stuff. It was practically empty before I'd pack it with all the clothes. My friend's brother helped me sell the stuff on eBay, and we split the profit 75 to 25. Made hundreds. No one ever suspected it was me, but obviously they ended up discovering all the stuff was lost. I didn't think it all the way through when I was doing it, and realized later that it was the mother's money that bought all that stuff, and I was technically just stealing from her. I work in retail currently, and she comes in sometimes. I always give her the employee discount out of guilt. I took a woman's bottle of Vicodins and sold them. This wouldn't be a big deal, but she thought her son did it, and he got into a lot of shit. I made $60 and bought 2 1/8 THS with that. You mean a quarter? 1/8 plus 1/8 equals 2/8 equals 1/4. The math checks out. This guy must have stayed in math class instead of skipping to go sell drugs. Hot dealers are some of the best educated in the world when it comes to fractions and converting units between grams, ounces, and pounds. Edit, Mother of God. Some of you folks need to learn to take a joke. This was not intended to be some sort of profound factual statement. I'm well aware that fractions and unit conversions are basic math. I'm an engineer. Pretty sure I took a bit more advanced math than that. I got suspended once for bribing a kid to drink a whole bottle of Pepto-Bismol with $1. I was pissed, and he was a dumbass. If you're reading this, Barry, I hope you're still shitting black stools. I guess I've done a lot of bad things for money, but I'll go with the one I've actually always felt guilty about. For a brief time, while living in Europe, I robbed prostitutes. In Europe, instead of a motel, they generally take you back to their place. Basically, I would tell them I like to be dominant, tie them up, gag them, fuck them. And while they were still tied up, I would take my money back, any other money they had, whatever else that was valuable that I could find, and then I would very casually be on my merry little way, with them still tied up and gagged. That's some psycho stuff. You ever seen a professional about that? I remember reading this before. You did this in Germany, right? How did you actually start doing it, may I ask? Were you just strapped for cash and then thought about the easiest money-making scheme? Honestly, it sounds so wrong, but pretty smart at the same time. Count yourself lucky you didn't get fucked up by some pimp. Used to help my dad make clean cars on weekends. He did the exterior, I did interior. One day I go inside a car, and it looks like it has been snowing. In some places it was about 5 cms thick, but it was completely through the whole car. I had no idea what it could be, so I am cleaning and cleaning, doing a very thorough job. When I am finally done, the owner appears. He is morbidly obese and covered in scaly flakes of skin all over his body. I was inhaling that stuff. I vomited into the gutter and decided that this was the worst thing I had ever done for money. Thought this was going to be a cocaine story where you ended up really high and did the best car cleaning job you've ever done in your entire life. I am now disgusted and wrong. I created a lot of seriously fucking annoying flash banners, the kind that pop out and cover everything and make noise when you accidentally roll your cursor over them. I'm not proud. Drank at 21 ounces. Cup of garbage water once. Worked at a restaurant. Every night, we'd spray out the garbage bins in the kitchen. The resulting water filth was my drink. Sold some old socks that I wore for a week to a gay class mate that has a foot fetish. I let my friend zap me with a taser for $20. He upped it to $100 if I would let him do it until the battery died. I accepted.